I had no idea about that before.
Hello everyone!
Hello.
In this video we would like to tell you a little bit about our positive home birth experience and how we got there, why we decided to have home birth, and maybe there are some pregnant women now watching.
Or maybe you're a future father and either your wife is looking into a home birth option, or maybe you just happen to come across this video. But yeah, I think from a father's standpoint, it's like the whole birthing process is a bit different and definitely terrifying for first-time fathers, going into it. Spoiler alert, it's not as terrifying afterwards.
So let's start with how we actually ended up having home birth. What drove us there?
Yeah, so initially, I'd never heard of it before, and when I found out what it was, that it's actually you just give birth at home, it was terrifying. I was absolutely against it. Where did you hear about it? Why did you start?
Funny fact here is that when he said it, I've never. It was terrifying. Later on, it turned out, which I didn't even think about asking, but you told me later that it was because you thought I'll be alone, you will be alone, we'll be just the two of us giving birth. So basically, because again, it's my first experience, you will have to catch the kid and I'll cut the cord and everything.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I have basic military knowledge of medicine and stuff. So basically, if there's a hole, you put stuff on the hole till it stops bleeding, which would not have been helpful at all in this situation. So I was terrified. I'm I have no idea how to do this. I have no medical background.
If you have the same myth about home birth, then maybe watch the video up to the end to find out that it's actually not true. I think it started with me changing my diet, becoming more plant-based and everything, when I realized that our bodies are very...
Yeah, our bodies know what they're doing.
Yeah, so if you don't interfere the natural process, then everything works pretty fine. Basically with everything, with sickness, with overcoming some medical issues that I had. This actually just kind of directed me into the right path of more natural living, and giving birth is just a natural continuation of your life, I guess. Not continuation, a natural step of your life. We started going to OBGYN and really quickly realized that it's not our option. And then I guess my thinking, which I had before about home birth, just started to materialize very quickly. You were not on board with me at first. You were absolutely against it.
That was actually one of the reasons why we ended up going to the OBGYN. It's because I wasn't very comfortable with the whole home birth option. Feeling like we were kind of on our own with no medical experience. It's kind of a scary thing, especially I think for the fathers, because you feel like now you've got two people that you really care about, and you're not sure that you'll be able to be there for them, and you're not sure that you'll be able to do something if something does go wrong. After going to the OBGYNs for maybe 2 or 3 times, we found, first off, that we were basically just a number.
Anytime we would ask why we should do this or can we opt out, every time the answer was because everybody does it. They looked at us as if we're crazy, why do we question it? You're told to do something because everybody does it, you have to do it.
Yeah, there was one thing in particular, the genetic testing, that we were really questioning, is this absolutely necessary? What they told us was, well, basically you can tell, if the child's heart is outside of their body and stuff like that.
Brain doesn't have brain.
So, is there a particular reason why we need to think that that's a possibility in our case? And they said, well, no, but just in case. And with the possibility was just absolutely minuscule that something like that would actually happen. So we asked them, so what would happen? Let's say we find something like horribly wrong, through these genetic tests. And they said, well, you can have an abortion. And like, okay, yeah, we're not doing that either way. So
why do we have to have tests then?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like the nurse just wasn't really listening to us and didn't really understand where we were coming from. And we were just like another number, another patient, the same as all the other patients.
So at about 20 weeks, so when it was approaching 20 weeks, when you are supposed to do the ultrasound for all the organs and find or not find out the gender, this is exactly when we started to talk more about the home birthing option. Because we didn't want to have this ultrasound and we didn't want to find out gender, and we just realized that after that point there'll be more and more interventions, more and more tests, checkups and everything, which of course you need to have checkups, but not every time, and not as if you want to like scan your belly all the time to just find out that the kid is still there. I don't know, it's not the way we wanted to do it. Of course, if you have different opinion about anything, you may argue, and we did, and I even felt at some point that I'm alone, and what I want, I will not be able to do.
One walk we went on in particular, like we kind of like really got into it, and I think that was actually when I decided, like, all right, this means a lot to her, even if I don't really understand it. So we agreed then, we'll explore it, we'll see what it's about a little bit more, and we started going to a midwife at that point.
I remember coming to the first visit. She had a kind of like an introductory meeting with any new clients, and client sounds kind of weird because it's the home birthing option is different. It's not like you're buying something, which in hospital I kind of feel like it. You feel either because you're sick and you have to go to the hospital to see a doctor, or that you're buying service.
Yeah, that was actually another thing that really made me angry about like the hospital stuff. Is we were being charged for stuff, not being told how much, or what was an option, what wasn't an option. Just a complete lack of rights to patients as far as knowing like how much they're being charged,
or what's going on,
and for what services, and what's even going on. So that was actually like really scary that they were like doing things and charging us for things without our knowledge.
The first visit to the midwife was interesting because I already read many books on the topic, and watching different videos and webinars and kind of getting this information in my head and sorting things out. And I was of course sharing some stuff with John, but I kind of needed somebody else's opinion and somebody else's point of view on the same issue. And we come there, and we were just talking for about like an hour and a half about what we want and what home birth is about, and how everything that I said before, how like it's natural and you don't have to interfere, and that basically anybody can do it. I mean, anybody female can do it.
Yeah.
Biologically female.
And one of the things that really won me over was her record as far as home births go. No, not her criminal record. Although that was impressive too. But no, she delivered over like 300 babies.
I think 500. Anyway, a lot of babies.
But, yeah.
And for me as a future mom at that point of time, when any kind of specialist with reproductive system or with female affairs has no kids or has one kid or maybe two kids, is okay, but when this person has 9 kids, or like more than 5, or even 5 is a lot, it's a different level of trust. And all of her kids were born at home, and again, if it was such a terrible experience giving birth at home, she wouldn't have that many, right? The second thing, which we have to mention, we discussed before, is the midwife there was, most of the time was with her daughter, which was starting to become a midwife in the future. And she had a small son who was, I think, 8 or 9 months at that point of time. And he was not just cute, he was the first kid of this age. I have almost zero experience with kids, but my understanding about kids before was, it's never a kid and a mother. It's never a baby and a mother. It's always a baby, pacifier, toys, the annoying toys that make those like meh, meh, meh sounds, mobile, stroller with a mobile, or crib with a mobile, different types of, gadgets. There's never a mother and a baby without anything. It's just, it doesn't work this way. And the babies are always there as if they are from a different world. They look somewhere weirdly, their eyes are kind of like running, and they make weird noises, weird movements of tongue or anything. This kid was just small human, absolutely alert, smart, looking cute, but looking as a baby, looking absolutely healthy. And there was nothing, he was just sitting on the lap of his mom, who was paying attention to him, but also talking to us and listening to what we were saying, and doing what she was supposed to do, learning, but also caring for the baby. And I don't know, I seriously, I fell in love with the baby immediately, and I was thinking, my first thinking was, oh my goodness, I hope we'll have such a baby, such a alert baby, cute, and nice. And we actually got got a baby like this.
Yeah, we did. We had to pay a little extra, but that baby, that was, like, for me, that was another defining moment, was meeting him. It was, again, like, this was a home birth child from, it was a family who basically just had home births. And again, like, perfectly healthy, very aware of where he was, and not like out in his own world. Like, he was very, very present. And that was, like, I thought that was just excellent.
So if you are a midwife, invite somebody with a baby on the first visit, because it definitely does work.
Yeah, that was actually like something I just realized. But like a lot of the home birth groups really try to get people to share their stories, because there are so many positive stories out there, and like the proof is like right in like the children and the mothers who go through it, and the fathers too. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. And
they want to share the stories because the prevailing myth is still the one that home birth experience is risky. Oh my goodness, how many times I heard people, when I somehow mention that we have home birth, which I try not to mention because people get a little crazy over it. When you mention that you have home birth, people say, oh, you're so risky, everything could have gone wrong and everything. But the statistics shows that it's actually the opposite. Home birth is statistically more safe. Hospital birth can have different kind of outcomes and more complications, more unnecessary medical interventions. Yeah, and just from like a logical standpoint, with big decisions, I like to really think things through. And Lena really helped me with this one, because I was having a hard time getting past that, like the mindset that I was brought up with. And that's nothing against my parents or anything, but just like the culture that we're in. Babies are born in hospitals, you give them a bottle, these are like the set things you do with a baby. And so it took a little bit of pushing and pulling to pull me out of that. For the vast majority of human history, people have been having home births.
It's actually like really interesting, like the history of like birthing in general, especially like the last 100 years and all of the so-called innovations that have taken place.
The key thing here is really that in comparison, the midwife services, the midwifery in general is more humane, I would say. They treat you more as a human, and this is the key difference between the home birth option and the hospital option. At hospital, the woman is treated more like, I'm sorry if somebody's touchy and I offend somebody, but more like an incubator, more like a machine.
So
we're not going to say that everybody has to have home birth. No.
Yeah.
Is it better for some people? Of course, especially emergency cesarean helped a lot of people. Other things do help. Sometimes the baby really needs more close attention after birth. But these are more rare cases. And if we don't complicate things, they seem to work naturally and they seem to work easier.
I guess like a lot of the credit goes to the midwife. Like she was very well informed. Her experience again was very impressive. That and she like really treated my wife and my daughter as like individuals. It wasn't just like, well, everyone else does this, everyone else is in this.
And she was listening. She was not just when we were going to the meetings before, it was mostly like a lecture. So you come, they tell you what's next in the next episode. But in this case, she was listening, she was answering questions, she was asking us questions, she was not only talking about the baby, but also was making sure that we know simply that after birth there's placenta. Because for many people it's shock, like, I just pushed, what do you say, I should push again?
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering like how many fathers started panicking when like when the nurse
says, it's coming. What is
like, but there's already a baby. Are there two? But yeah, no. Sometimes there are, but usually it's the placenta.
And I'm touching it, and it's such a weird feeling. Like, what do I give birth to? Is it an alien? Cries immediately like hell.